Welcome to the Syndicate. I'm your host, RZA786.
And I'm your co-host, Political P. First of all, guys, I just want to welcome you back to our second episode. And today we have a special guest, a very close, dear friend of mine. I consider him as a part of the family. We met each other as teenagers, and we've been through a lot, and still have kept our relationships together through our journey that we've been going on for quite a long time. And I just want to get some insight with him in terms of his perspective on business and what his ideas and the vision that he has. And we want to welcome him to the syndicate and welcome to the family, which he's always been welcome, and extend our overwhelmingly network of brothers and eventually sisters that will be a part of what we're trying to aspire to do. And that's, of course, maintain relationships with people throughout the world and to uplift us as people of color, specifically African Americans. So I would like to introduce you today to Mr. Kenyata Wilson, who I know is Kenzo. So we will refer to him as Ken and open the floor up for Ken. Hey, Ken, how you doing? What's up, brother? Peace and blessings.
Right. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings.
Wa alaikum
salam. Now, what I would like to point out is this. I would like to give a picture, a vision, an image. And it's not about any longer making money as an individual, going to school, getting an education, going into business as an individual, or getting a job and earning a wage, being a wage slave as an individual. The currency exchange rate offers Black Americans an opportunity to be free. When I say freedom, I'm not talking about the pursuit of happiness in its frivolousness, a breath of fresh air, or running through an open field unshackled. What I'm talking about is free and clear title, free and encumbered title to land, free dominion of land. And I was doing some research. For example, MSN.com values an acre of farmland in America to cost $2,000. For $1 billion, 500,000 acres could be purchased. I did some further research and I found an article in the Wall Street Journal by Catherine Clark entitled, dated March 10th, 2020. And it said that, the article said that tobacco billionaire Brad Kelly was selling 500,000 acres for $500 million. That's $1,000 an acre. Now, 1 acre of farmland is 43,560 square feet times 500,000 acres equals 21.78 billion square feet. Divided by 40 million African Americans equals 544.5 square feet. Now, that's not a lot of land. 544.5 square feet. That's a small plot of land. You might say the Garden of Eden. But if we build skyscrapers on the land instead of urban sprawl, That's enough land to grow a crop off of, to graze cattle upon, to build light industry, to provide for our immediate needs, and to trade in surplus, to be free. I attempted to contact Miss Oprah Winfrey and several of our Black American billionaires, Percy Miller, Eddie Murphy, Bob Johnson, Jay-Z, amongst others, to inform them of the opportunity that is available to us. With the stimulus checks that they're issuing now, this land was in Texas, and we could be free. Our next step, we've marched in the streets, Black Lives Matter, and we continue to appeal to a system that does not care about our appeals, that repeatedly denies us justice. The police are generally ex-members of the military who did not make a career of service in the military, and maybe after 4 years of service applied to become police officers. The policies that are made as police officers are basically designed to enforce the socio-economic system of capitalism that's in place. And what capitalism perpetuates is wage slavery. It's a state of income tax, property tax, sales tax, estate tax, capital gains tax. And the police are hired as gunmen who are contracted to enforce the will of businessmen who have an armed monopoly on the print press to print up money while everyone else has to work 16 hours a day to earn money. They have an armed monopoly on the print press and just print up money. Now, the solution to the problem is valuable. I invented a dispatch system to save lives, Black lives, brown lives, red lives, white lives, yellow lives, to allow the local community to police itself. And anytime someone calls the security dispatch system, it'll ring all of the cellular telephones of the enlistees and allow the enlistees to hear the call of the distress caller and to see the GPS coordinates of the distress caller to answer the call. And the system, as a public service for public safety, will save the lives and allow the police to become, it will complement the police, because I'm from Detroit, Michigan, where the police are Black predominantly.
Correct.
And we don't have a problem with the police seeking to murder us, to imprison us without cause. So
Correct.
to complement the police, like the police athletic league, to take control of the community for the adults, the men and women, to be able to come out. And the security service may also include social services, property surveillance, street surveillance, sold as a separate service. Of the enlistees, there will be two kinds of enlistees: active enlistees and passive enlistees. The passive enlistees will pay $10 a month to the active enlistees for the benefit of the surveillance service. And the point is that the police then can teach the youth basic training, survivalist training, how to hunt and shoot with a rifle and a pistol. The difference between killing and murder. To know the rules of engagement, that one may kill in defense of one's person, one's people, or one's property. And murder is malice aforethought with the intent to do harm. To teach the youth not to carry guns illegally, but to wait until they're to the youth are of age to apply for a license to carry a concealed weapon and to be armed and to enforce the law in the community, to rid the community of murder, rape, robbery, and crime.
That's correct.
And to establish a proper social order in the community, and to make the police and the adults in the community that complement the police as part of the community security service, the leaders of the community. As it stands right now, if you have a good business idea, you can't go to the police, the professor, or the police and borrow a penny. But with the plan that I have and the vision that I have, the police will lead the youth, will be able to employ the youth to sit down and to develop business ideas and to pool the resources of the community and to eliminate illegal drug dealing in the community, to give the youth an outlet for investment and employment where the youth will own the businesses. Now, I don't hate white people. I'm not angry. This is not hate speech. I respect the Detroit police because the Detroit police has always shown me respect and has earned my respect over the course of my life.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I wanted to remind you of how we got respect with the Detroit Police Department when we were skipping for school, and then they kind of shook us up, and we was like, "I ain't be got no weapon, Mr. Officer," and they were laughing. They sent us on our way. So we do have good, memories on how we were treated amongst the Detroit Police Department. I mean, because they were all black, and even the white guys were still giving us the utmost respect.
Yes. So this service at security dispatch system can be patented, licensed to the mobile application, licensed to America nationally and internationally. Will offer the most qualitative security service to the women in the community. They don't have to worry about being raped, abducted, and all of the foolishness that is promoted on the national news. The women in the community can know that they are safe. Now, I want to get into, in addition to social services, I want to get into social economics. The
Yeah, before you get
currency,
into that, maybe Ken, before you get into that,
yeah,
you know, it was one thing that I wanted to bring up to your attention because when we were speaking, my question to you would be is what would be if we were to have a relationship with countries in the African countries, countries that are in a part of Africa and the diaspora, specifically dealing with America, how can we collaborate? And what is your thoughts on how we can both benefit from each other as African Americans that's living in the United States and African countries that are on the continent of Africa?
okay, I'll give you an example. Now, Black Lives Matter are marching in the streets, and the In Fact Coalition marched on Stone Mountain, Georgia, under arms. But to be emotionally caught up in a conflict between white racists and ourselves is not the solution to our problem, because our problem is economic. Now, in some cases, as a matter of military strategy, you have to take retaliation to avenge the lives of your murdered people for your own personal sense of mental security and physical security. So that may be necessary, but the benefit to the people, to answer the prayers of the people, is to set up a supply line between Africa and Black Americans using the currency exchange rate and to trade in surplus with the greater American pop, the 2,000% markup, the wage slavery, and the 2,000% are charging the American people. For example, Nike Corporation manufactures the Nike gym shoe in Indonesia for $12 and charges the American people $160, $200 for a Nike gym shoe.
Mm.
American corporations are manufacturing in China and charging the American people 2,000% markup on the products. So if we give the American people a good quality product for a fair price, the American people will be grateful to us. And our next step, we just had a blackout date, July 7th, 2020, where we were not supposed to spend any of our money except for with Black businesses. Maggie Anderson has a program, Buy Black Hair Products, from Chicago. Now, with the nationalization of any product, we could then reinvest in a diverse catalog of products and services to provide for our immediate needs and then to trade in surplus. The L'Oreal owns Carol's daughter, Black and Lovely, and the woman, the French white woman who owned L'Oreal, died the richest woman in the world in 2017, is what Maggie Anderson reports. Because all of the Black hair care products are being usher-pated by whites. I'll give you another example. There's not a single Black stock traded on the New York Stock Exchange. There's not a single product in a Walmart store on the shelf labeled manufactured in Africa. Now, if manufacturing followed cheap labor, then African labor would be the cheapest, given the currency exchange rate is in some cases 1,000 African dollars to one US dollar. But socioeconomic policy and trade between Black Americans and Africans is being sabotaged by the CIA and the State Department. I'll be specific by what I mean. Marcus Garvey was framed for mail fraud by the Office of Strategic Services, OSS, the precursor to the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, for seeking to raise funds for the Black Star Line shipping company. The US government now admits that Marcus Garvey was framed, was innocent in fact, was falsely charged, and was pardoned by President Calvin Coolidge in 1925. Marcus Garvey was framed in, was framed in 1925, was pardoned in 1929, and was in the United States Penitentiary, Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, that's a historical example of the sabotage of trade. A recent example is Colonel Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, Africa, offered to donate $1 billion to Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam to fund Black business and trade between Black America and Africa.
Facts.
The U.S. State Department said that Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was a terrorist and denied Minister Farrakhan to receive the $1 billion donation from Colonel Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. Mrs. Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State in charge of the State Department at that time. Of the ambassadors, American ambassadors to Africa, out of 55 ambassadors, American ambassadors to Africa, 52 of the 55 are white and only 3 are Black, to sabotage trade between Black Americans and Africans. This is something that is continuous. It is a strategy to maintain a state of wage slavery. Now, those whites who may emotionally identify with the founding fathers of USA Incorporated are not in chartered members of USA Incorporated and do not receive an annuity check from the gross domestic product of USA Incorporated. When they vote for nothing. They've been deprived of their birthright entitlement to land and industry.
Correct.
They have no security in a trust fund check that they receive as an annuity each month from a corporate trust, a land trust of the governmental agencies of USA Incorporated, who has an armed monopoly on the print press and just print up money. So this is a country without a patron. There's a separation between church and state, such as the patriarch, the Pope, is the head of the house of worship in Rome, Italy. And or they made an armed revolution against their blood sovereign, King George, So the question is, which way did you go, George? With King George of England or George Washington? The question, which way did he go, George? Is
Right.
this. They made a break from their blood sovereign. King Henry VIII claimed to be absolute monarch, and God is always first. So absolute patriarch over the Church of England and absolute monarch over the royal house of England. But they made a break from their patriarch. This is a country, a godless country with a separation of church and state and no patriarch. So how can you be a patriot when you have no birthright and entitled to land? You vote for nothing. In a joint stock company, you have voting class stock. And when you have a stockholders meeting, you vote on the direction of investment of the joint stock company. For example, a motion may be made that we purchase apples. And a call for a second to the motion may be made. If the motion is seconded, then the business prospectus may be passed around to this, and a vote may be had on whether we're going to then produce everything as a gas, liquid, or solid. So I'm going to say as a gas, applesauce, as a liquid, apple juice, or as a solid, apple pie. And then we're going to have as equity, we're going to have an equal share in apportionment of the net profit. That's a joint stock company. The people vote for nothing. Now, the solution to the problem is valuable. The solution to the problem is to have direct democracy where the people vote on every way bill that comes from out of the Ways and Means Committee, and the representatives and senators of the Congress and Senate act as the physical processors of the administrative paperwork that needs to be done, or functionaries to represent the direct vote of the people by smart cellular telephone and internet vote. That's the future of democracy, direct democracy, where the people receive a conferred benefit for their vote, for their income tax, property tax, sales tax, estate tax, capital gains tax. But right now, the people are being conned. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Abraham Lincoln, as a strategy, issued the Emancipation Proclamation to free the slaves in order to spoil the South. And with all blacks used to be Republicans. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Now, all white races used to be Democrats. The blue dogs in the Congress today are the old school white racist Democrats of the old South. But they pulled the switch because the people have a short memory, and the symbol of the Republican Party is the elephant. The people have a short memory and are able to be manipulated by jackass foolery of the Democrats. So
True.
the Democratic and Republican Party are running a confidence game on the people.
Right.
And the root word of confidence is con, because the people vote for nothing. The people receive nothing for their vote. Now, President Obama, the mix baby, would have given the people, black and white, black, brown, red, white, and yellow, all that the people had coming. Under the current system, as the system exists, the people have nothing coming. So the solution to the problem is valuable. It's for the econometric labor model. Elm theory is my theory. I am not of the capitalists and the communists because they're playing two-faced globalists and communists. They're registered grass is cattle feed. Etc. Eat grass. And in the city of Detroit, for example, we have our bag equipped lawnmowers where we mow the lawn and we may get 300 or 400 pound bags of grass already bagged up when we empty our bag equipped lawnmower. And we take that grass, that cattle feed, and dump it on the garbage truck and ship it off to a landfill, truck it off to a landfill and throw it away. But that cattle feed can be exported to farmers in transported to state, the the Middle East, to Europe, to Australia, around the world. And that's billions of dollars that we're throwing away. From the city of Detroit alone, cattle are being fed corn in the United States of America. Now, another example, the same example, excuse me, Genesis chapter 1, verses 11 and 12 says that God made fruit with seed in it of its kind, bearing fruit of its kind. And God saw that it was good. Now, the Bible is not stupid to repeat itself redundantly without cause. The repetition is a sign of seed bank, seed stores, and we buy apples, for examples. Instead of throwing away our apples to the seed, we can plant those seeds and we can harvest the fruit trees in our yards and export those seeds to Africa and make a trade with the farmers for half of the crop when the crop comes in and import back to America to be self-sufficient, to apply for our immediate needs and to trade in surplus. So another example from the Bible, Jesus takes 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread and feeds a multitude. Now, when I approach God, I don't use magic, I use mathematics. And logic is a branch of mathematics. So logically, by the study of aquaculture, I know that one female cod that weighs 90 pounds lays 200,000 eggs and may be the objective case for cash on delivery, COD, cod. One female salmon lays 4,000 eggs. And when you grow fish in a tank, that's how you feed a multitude and become self-sufficient for food. In the UN, all of those men with their extensive education, they should have been able to solve the problem of global hunger like I've given you the solution. But what they stand for is the maintenance of a wage slavery global market, a state of wage slavery throughout the global market where the people have no birthright and entitlement to land and industry.
Mm-hmm.
The Cold War between the Soviet Union has dissolved now, and the Russians are practicing capitalism. The Chinese are professed communist, but the Chinese have the yuan currency, and the Chinese people work for a wage and have no birthright entitlement to land or industry. The truth is an offense, but not a sin.
Ken,
I'm not, yes.
uh, chiming in on your last point.
Yes.
What can we as Black Americans do to facilitate trade between us here in the States and our brethren in Africa?
We can contact the consul generals in New York. They're located in the African embassies in New York. The consul general's responsibility is to represent the business interests of those African countries that have the end. We want to make contracts with the government of Africa that are guaranteed. So we're not going to be caught up if war breaks out and we won't be able to receive our supply. We want to make a contract with the government and the people of Africa to have an open contract where everybody can become registered members and have birthright and entitlement
That's
to
right.
land and industry.
True.
That's what we want. So we're under the econometric labor model, Elm theory, the formula is L equals labor. L equals S over D, supply over demand. D also means distance. Times T over C. T is for time and cost. In its variable formula combinations, M theory can be coupled with the Systeme International D units, the SI system, base units and derived units, to quantify any economic deal that needs to be made. Time and distance, supply and demand as a constant. Because I'll show you the entire world. I'm inspired by God and I can see the entire world. Demand is fixed. Demand doesn't grow, and the opportunity under capitalism for market expansion is a fallacy because the demand is constant, because the people only consume so much. American farmers are being paid not to plant their farmland in order to artificially inflate the price of food in the American market. The people could eat, and the surplus could offer security against drought and famine in other places in the world as a goodwill mission to the world. Now, to become guaranteed, to become a secure party, mandatorily required to attend school, university for life, and receive credits like college credits for the attendance of school. The division of labor would be based upon the demand of the people. The demand of the people, and you would have basic training or basic education to teach each American, and this is how America can lead the world without. If America aligns itself in this paramilitary structure that I'm describing, like the girl soldiers make for the victory. As soldiers of fortune, the soldiers would receive a direct share from the spoils of war. But in order to be promoted in the U.S. military, your soldier is promoted by referral instead of an merit system of applied skill. So if, for example, the same way in the penitentiary, see, the police, the professors, the priest are all collaborating to maintain a state of wage slavery, preaching pacifism to the people instead of kingdom come. Now, Jesus Christ says that my Father has a mansion with many rooms. That means Jesus Christ's father was rich and has had an inheritance for Jesus Christ. So in order to lead the people, to be the leader has to provide for the needs of the people. I don't advocate armed expropriation of private property. Karl Marx had no formula in the Communist Manifesto for Economics. Adam Smith was wrong. Keynes is wrong. The pure girth of the garbage money that has been printed up and is being used to speculate the market and to drive up to inflate the cost, the price of products and services in the United States of America cannot continue, because in order to have trade, the people have to be able to afford the products and services that are offered for sale in the market, and have to make a living wage. But production is being limited in the United States of America in order to perpetuate a state of wage slavery. And those who are being given access to capital basically have a slush fund account to buy luxury homes, cars, jewelry, clothes, and the trappings of conspicuous consumption. But the big three auto companies, they're closing plants in the United States of America. And the multinational corporations, they have given a franchise to the Japanese, for example, in the automobile industry.
The licensing.
To replace Ford Motor Company, to supplant Ford Motor Company as the number 2 automotive dealer in the United States of America. When Henry Ford invented the modern product assembly, auto assembly line for the manufacturing of the industrial manufacture of automobiles. So that franchise was established by generals in the U.S. military during World War II.
That's right.
When Japan was bombed and was a protectorate, and still is a protectorate of the United States military. The consumer electronics industry has been exported to foreign countries, and American companies are disloyal to the American people, are manufacturing in foreign countries and charging the American people 2,000% markup. The American people have no job security in the United States of America. It, the current state of economics and the fact of economics is this: an industrial machine is the products that are manufactured by automation have to be the cheapest, and the products that are manufactured by manual labor have to be the most expensive. The people have to have a security interest in the industrial equipment. Otherwise, the people have no security in their jobs and will not be able to afford, will not have any guarantee.
So Ken.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my brother. I'll let you finish your point. I want you brought up some good stuff that I wanted to chime in on, because you dropping some jewels.
Okay.
You dropping jewels.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Go ahead, touch base with him, chime with him, Rizzo.
Okay, how does that the job market? Where do you feel we stand in the job market given the rate of automation?
Okay, I'll give you an example. A bottling machine produces 1,000,000 bottles of water, 1,000,000 bottles of juice, 1,000,000 bottles of pop per day. The manual labor
Pop
is
is a
not
slang.
needed.
We say it. Pop is what we mean soda.
Okay.
They're East Coast, man.
Yes.
We in Detroit, so we say pop.
Yes, soda pop. The people have to have a security interest in industrial bottling machine. There's no reason why the people should not be able to afford to manufacture the products for which the people need. The people are being priced out, for example. A McDonald's franchise costs $1 to $3 million and earns an estimate of $66,000 a year net profit. The people on average earn $35,000 a year. That's the average income of the average American. It would take 30 people to come together as an investment group and to save their entire net earnings after taxes for an entire year. Actually, it's because they would have mortgage payments. Most people do not own their homes free and clear title. Utility payments, insurance payments, car note payments, food they would have to purchase, but clothing for the kids, new shoes. The kids' feet are growing and need new shoes. So say they were frugal and they saved for 2 years. It would take 30 people to purchase one McDonald's franchise. The people are priced out of business. There are now what the people pension fund is invested in is the New York Stock Exchange. Now, Adam Smith, the economist, says that the market is efficient to set its own price. And the New York Stock Exchange functions by an unseen hand, quote unquote. I'll show you the decrepit hand that controls the New York Stock Exchange. Bonds are the only thing guaranteed by the law of contract, and bonds pay the lowest yield. Preferred stock is unguaranteed by the law of contract, and common stock is unguaranteed by the law of contract. Now, the purchasing of a stock, more properly represents a wager pool of money pitted against the artificially manipulated numerical direction of the market than it represents a share in the stock, a stake in the stock inventory of the storeroom of the corporation. So, in other words, what I'm saying is how the New York Stock Exchange works is this. Senator John McCain called it casino capitalism. It works like a game of musical chairs.
Mm.
The New York Stock Exchange advertised in all the newspapers, radio, and television, and show off the trappings of wealth, a Rolex watch, a Brooks Brothers suit, Flowsham shoes, a luxury home, mansion, and say, we're rich, invest with us long term and you'll gain money. Well, the New York stock, the S&P 500 appreciates at an annual rate of 12%. That's the Standard & Poor's 500, which is one of the two major indexes like the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to show you how the game of musical chairs with stocks work.
Ken,
yeah.
what I was trying to get into your mind or try to you to kind of elaborate on, or what is your thoughts? If African countries were able to allow African Americans in the United States to facilitate them of issuing sovereign bonds backed by their commodities, backed by their resources, how you think that would help pivot things or bring things to a better situation for Americans and African Americans in general? Would sovereign bonds be issued for us to facilitate the issuance of sovereign bonds?
Yes.
On behalf of,
to eliminate suspicion and jealousy, jealousy is to suspect rivalry. Mm-hmm. Unity is defined in Black's Law Dictionary as unity of possession, unity of interest, unity of time, and unity of title. If we make a common investment to have a common distribution of net profit share, we could prop up the African currency with our U.S. currency and give the African security in the African currency. Like the Europeans came together with the European Union and the Euro dollar. The African Union can come together with the AU currency, the Afro currency, and we can prop it up. If they just raise the cost of their raw materials, because the Africans don't need the currency, the foreign currencies. The Africans have the raw materials. What
That's
the
it.
African, yes.
They can partner with us though, right?
Yes.
So they take in the share and we market it and we package it and we redistribute it to the world. So we become a similar to ExxonMobil, and then we can bring down the yield in terms of to extract it to the world economy that can make us having a huge more amount of market share.
Yes, the currency exchange rate between the Africans and the Europeans, specifically I'm talking about the pound, the euro, and the dollar, is racist discrimination on the part of the greedy white bankers and their armed collaborators, the murderers for hire, that are the soldiers willing to kill on command in their armies to fight, to enforce their contracts in foreign lands. But again, the soldiers have no direct stake in a share of the spoils from their war. What I'm talking about will give the soldiers. See, A journeyman is a skilled laborer, like Jesus Christ was a carpenter,
Mm.
an auto mechanic, electrician, a plumber, a welder. You have your journeyman, then you have your sojourner, which is your traveler, and then you have your soldier, which is a seller, a soldier of fortune. The way soldiering is practiced now is the equivalent of prostitution. Looking at the source, and a cadet is a prostitute. A conscript is a slave. So in order for the soldiers to understand the the social economic order of soldiering, the soldiers have to um, study what is equity and have a direct stake in the agricultural farmland and the industry, the industrial equipment of the nation. And again, I don't advocate armed expropriation of private property. You can see from the stimulus checks issued by the United States government, the U.S. government could have been issuing that type of money. Native Americans, for example, who own casinos and land in common, all receive a check just for being natural born native members of that tribe. That's an American example. A Middle Eastern example would be OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. For example, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates. They all receive a check. Those Muslims receive a check from the sale of the gross domestic product. That's the oil of the nation, and they are the richest per capita in the world. So it can be done, and they're not communist. The Native Americans are not communist. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Country, OPEC, are not communists. They're monarchies. So the anti-communist argument is a con game. I'll give it Holy Communion. When you have communism, Holy Communion of the Roman Catholic Church is communism. So I just want to be clear on the point. You look at the Secret Service, for example, the name Secret Service, trade secrets. You research patent secret, letter secret is patent to Black's Law Dictionary. So if you understand what the legal definition of the word secret is and what it means, the Secret Service was formed from Pinkerton Detective Agency founded by Alan Pinkerton. They were called Pinkerton men, and what they were also called Union Busters. And what they were men with high power rifles that were head busters, and they broke the Homestead strike of Andrew Carnegie Steel Company in Pittsburgh. When the working men were striking, seeking higher wages to support their families, the Secret Service came in and bust their heads violently to suppress their negotiation for a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. So this is what they stand for. The Secret Service is most famously known for guarding the President of the United States. Secret Service is not against counterfeit and credit card fraud. The Secret Service is a spy agency, and all of those spy agencies stand to maintain a state of wage slavery. Their conservatism is a con game. They don't stand for fiscal conservatism. George Herbert Walker Bush said, "Read my lips, no new taxes," and then proceeded to raise taxes. George Herbert Walker Bush was the former director of the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency. And what they practice is strategies, statecraft, how to control mass populations with confidence, con games. And they're even using Russian psychotronics, mind control on the population to manipulate the people. Because the people are not naturally that stupid not to see what's going on.
Right.
So the solution to the problem is valuable. Um, the buy-in. This is my monopoly business strategy. The buy-in. All right. True. And as a goodwill measure, I'm going to put this out there because I plan to be the richest man in the world. And I have a strategy. It's not a fantasy.
Yes.
The buy-in is to allow the customers to buy into the company when the customer buys the product or service from the company.
Correct.
To give the customer a direct stake in the company and to invest in a diverse catalog of products and services. The company that uses the buy-in strategy is a monopoly strategy. And that's as far as I'll go in the open. But for those who are willing to work with me, I'm willing to give everyone an equal share. This is the conspiracy that everyone can profit from. I have a plan to raise capital. I have a multi-trillion-dollar plan. I have a complex and effective strike complex.
Correct.
Because the only thing that's complex for the people to understand is a lie. The truth is simple. And so the New York, I don't want to miss this point of the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay.
They say the value of stock is going and they up, oh, it's say going up is going, we're buying the stock, and you sold the stock, the value of the stock went up. It's a pyramid scheme. And the objective case for the pyramid scheme is on the back of the $1 bill, the pyramid.
Yes. Okay,
the dollar
brother.
has no collateral back in the dollar.
Okay, brother Ken.
Yes.
Yes. So our time is just almost up now.
Okay.
And this is just the first segment. And I just wanted to introduce everybody to Brother Ken, which I know is Ken Kenyata Wilson, aka Kenzo. And we're gonna build his channel. He's gonna have his own channel that we're gonna actually establish a part of our syndicate team. And he have extensive knowledge. We respect it and we love him. I love him to death. And I just want everybody to just to introduce him because he has the answers. Like I really believe that. So he's a part of the team, and this is just one of many conversations about these topics and more to come. And we just want to welcome you to the family, Ken, of the syndicate. And we want to welcome everybody to the syndicate. So if anybody have any comments or likes, subscribe, check out for the notification. And at the same time, we're going to add that same type of content to our brother Ken. That's any comments on what he said and what he discussed. We want you to reach out to him. We're going to give you his contact information, and we're going to also put some links to him and his website and all the things that he's having in plan because he has a true vision. He believes in what he says, and he acts on what he believes. And I take that as I put my confirmation to that. I know him very well. So peace and love, Ken. RZA786, anything you want to add?
Yeah, brother Ken, it was a pleasure having you on. You're dropping straight jewels, jewels, and like Political Peace said, this is just the beginning of a journey that we're all taking together. We'll love to have you on again, and certainly appear on your show, your channel as well. And stay safe out there. We keeping it rolling.
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, so be sure so that the people can take affirmative action and to work with you to give the people your contact information and not to point out the problem without pointing out the solution to the problem where we can all work together and benefit together. Not
That's
to
correct.
profit off of the people, but for all of
Peace and love. We signing
peace and
out.
love. Assalamu alaikum. Okay,
Salam.
I'm gonna call you tomorrow, Harun.
Okay, inshallah. All right, bro.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Wa alaikum salam, brother.